Hey guys, it's Mishel with Deception Bytes, and I just have a quick video here. 3 days ago we had the blackout at the airport in Atlanta, and I know when it happened I was on Twitter, I was everywhere trying to find information out about this, and I guess because I was so curious, it did not make sense to me because I couldn't understand why the busiest airport in the world would not have backup generators. The other thing I didn't understand is how a fire that was confined to one area could have knocked out the power to the entire airport, including any backup power. Didn't understand that at all. Didn't make sense to me, and I kept trying to look into it to see, what I could find. Well, apparently, I was right in questioning that because I found this a couple days ago, and I didn't have the time then to be able to comment on it, but I do now. And if you haven't had this brought to your attention, it's very important. Anyway, late last night, a sudden power outage shut down the world's busiest airport, with the outage leading to both the FAA and Atlanta's mayor ordering the suspension and grounding of all flights going both in and out of the airport while work was done to restore power. So there was a complete ground stop at Atlanta. Nobody could leave, nobody could come in. So some flights were diverted, some flights were, kept at the airports where they originated from or were going to fly out of. Nobody could land or take off during this power outage. However, the internet detectives over at 4chan have noticed one interesting piece of the story that no one in the mainstream press seems to want to mention. I wonder why. Right in the middle of this over 12-hour supposedly complete air traffic shutdown, a single plane was mysteriously allowed to leave the airport. Things that make you go, Reminds me of that one plane that left on 9/11 when there was a complete, shutdown of all flights. All flights were grounded, and yet one plane took off. It kind of reminds me of that. Which leaves us with an obvious question. Just what was so special about this lone permitted flight? Leaves me with that question. The plane in question, 4XICB, is a cargo plane that arrived in Atlanta from Mexico City at 1 p.m., just literal minutes before the alleged power problems began to make the airport go dark. The plane would then go on to leave for its next destination at 6:27 p.m., right in the middle of the blackout that ran from about 1 to midnight, with the official record indicating that the first flight post-blackout was not allowed to take off from the airport until 12:56 a.m. the next day. How then do we account for our mystery flight? Here is a timeline of how the day unfolded. 12:38 p.m., Georgia Power noticed outages in their system at the airport. During an investigation, they discovered the power. The Atlanta Fire Department responded within minutes and took about an hour to extinguish the electrical fire. 1:06 p.m. The power went out in several parts of the airport. 3 to 4 p.m. Georgia Power crews were able to get into the area to begin repairs. That's a long time, isn't it? I mean, the fire department went in there at 12:38, and Georgia Power crews weren't able to get into the area until 3 to 4 p.m. Midnight, power was restored completely at the airport. 12:56 a.m., first flight takes off from Atlanta Airport after blackout. The cargo plane in question is owned by Cal Cargo Airlines, a Jewish-owned company based out of Israel who specializes in the transportation of non-standard cargo, such as live animals and dangerous goods. Now, we can just about, rule out the live animals, right? I mean, I don't think that they would be, anyway. Okay. This company's leadership also has clear connections to the Israeli government. This includes its vice chairman, Muli Ravini, who previously served as assistant to the director general at the Ministry of Finance in Israel. Muli has been an active board member at Cal since 2010, helping to define the corporate strategy and playing a critical role in the company's growth. A seasoned businessman, Muli Ravina boasts tremendous experience in raising funds, business development, blah, 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 blah. We don't really need to know all that. Okay, even more suspicious, though, is that Cal Airlines owns another business known as LOX, a company who operates at the Atlanta airport, loading and offloading cargo planes. Most importantly, LOX boasts the ability to load and unload places without the presence of a customs agent, meaning no one outside the company's own employees were aware of what was inside the plane as it either landed in or took off from the airport. Now, here's this company. Our customs approved process includes the ability to load and unload trucks without the presence of a customs agent, print customs documents locally rather than traveling to the customs office, and clear customs documents simply and more quickly than ever before. Interesting. Very interesting. So to sum this up so far, an unprecedented power outage occurs at the busiest airport in the world. Despite the airport having backup generators for just this occasion that mysteriously somehow just went out at the same time, minutes before the blackout, a cargo plane from Mexico City arrives at the airport. Due to a special customs arrangement, it is not boarded by security or customs officials. Then, approximately 5 hours later, despite all flights having been ordered grounded by both the city's mayor and the FAA, the flight leaves for its next destination. Interesting. And this is some of the blackout or Atlanta blackout possible facts. On Sunday, 12/17, there was a power blackout at Atlanta Airport. A fire took out the backup generator at the same time. At least partial blackout went from 1:06 p.m. to nearly midnight. Thousands of flights were canceled. One plane, 4X ICB, departed for Liège, Belgium. At 6:27 p.m. It had landed from Mexico City at 1 p.m. It was a cargo plane owned by Cal Cargo Airlines Limited. Cal Cargo's corporate headquarters is at Ben Gurion Airport in Israel. Cal Cargo handles non-standard cargo, including temperature-controlled pharmaceuticals and healthcare products, live animals, and dangerous goods. Vice Chairman of Cal Cargo is Muli Ravina, Assistant to the Director General at the Ministry of Finance. Cal owns LOX, a company at LGG that on-offloads cargo. LOX website claims a customs simplification process, load and unload trucks without the presence of a customs agent. With so little clear information to go on, it's of no surprise the theories as to just what was likely inside the plane are diverse, though most seem inclined to believe the likeliest motivation for such an elaborate ruse would have been to get weapons out of the country and most likely into Israel. Of course, it's worth noting that this is hardly the first Israeli cargo plane to have mysterious circumstances surrounding it. All the way back in 1992, the crash of flight EL Flight 1862 caused quite a stir when it was revealed to have been secretly carrying the ingredients for sarin nerve gas. And this is from 4chan. Possible cargoes valuable enough to get tricksy with a blackout, nukes, bioweapon, people, critical players escaping prosecution, gold or other currency valuable enough. evidence like paperwork or electronic storage escaping. By far, the most popular suggestion is that the blackout was part of an operation to discreetly move some W-80 variable yield nuclear warheads out of the country and into the hands of the Israelis. The power outage being a necessary part of the ruse to blind nuclear detection devices that are standard at all major airports. The belief being this was all done to discreetly arm our military ally in the region where the current situation is becoming increasingly unstable and hostile. One user in particular breaks down a complete scenario which also makes reference to the not widely known 2007 Bent Spear incident, where a number of W-80 nuclear warheads were mistakenly transported on a cargo plane and off the grid for over 36 hours. Now, this says, I know it's very, very tiny print, but it says, let's start with the Bent Spear event from Minot Air Base a few years back. That shit show, their word, not mine, opened a Pandora's box of hell. Something obviously went down within the U.S. High Command after that. A simple Quo Bono paints an ugly picture. Now look what's going on. Everything in the Middle East has gone to utter shit for the U.S.-Israel faction. It's about to get exponentially worse. Once that Chinese petro yuan launches in a couple weeks, existential threat to Israel, kind of worse. Those W-80s from Minot, our closest allies, or should I say, in particular, have not only systems that fit and can deliver those bombs, they have arming codes. Those codes were given to them for unpredictable and fast-moving scenarios where such an ally needs to be quickly given a nuclear gun. I can hardly read it myself. The timing of the cargo plane's arrival and departure, a massive blackout that should not have been possible due to backup of backups. Somebody with high abilities and access needed that airport blind as a bat. In particular, they needed the radiation detection blind. How involved is Israel in our airport security and systems design? Put it together. Cui bono, ability, timing, past events, current desperation. There's not much time. We could all die. I think that's a little bit overkill, but anyway, whatever the truth of the matter is, it's both intriguing and disturbing that no mainstream media outlet will likely investigate or question why this one plane was allowed to leave the airport during yesterday's outage. Even if there is a perfectly reasonable explanation, we now live in a world where establishment journalists can't be trusted to investigate a possible lead enough to deliver it to us. Certainly a story like this is worth taking a second look at, especially when you consider the other odd elements to it, such as the fact an eerily similar fire drill got out of hand just over a week ago at the airport, which quite possibly contributed to the slow response by officials to recognize the true nature and severity of yesterday's fire that officially at least caused the outage in the first place. So I personally don't believe that, I don't believe that the fire caused the outage. I don't for a minute believe that, because they're right. There are not just backups. There are backups of backups. They do not want a power outage in the busiest airport in the world. It just, something is really, really, really wrong with this scenario. And something I noticed today is that in the New York Post, it says FBI joins probe into power outage at Atlanta airport. Have you ever known the FBI to investigate a power outage? I haven't. I mean, it's just a little strange, if you ask me. FBI joins probe into power outage at Atlanta airport. Well, if it was a fire that caused it, why would they need to investigate? And how was that fire so strategically placed that it's able to knock out all power and all backup? I don't get that. Anyway, the FBI has joined the probe of a fire that knocked out power at the Atlanta airport, but the agency said Tuesday there is no sign it was related to terrorism. Of course it wasn't. There's no indication at this point of anything nefarious. FBI spokesman Kevin Rosen said the Federal Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives also has been involved in the investigation. Georgia Power spokesman Craig Bell said, "We're bringing everything we have to bear to the situation to make sure this doesn't happen again." Okay, how does bringing the FBI in ensure that it doesn't happen again if it was a fire? I don't see, it doesn't make sense. The fire at Hartford-Jackson Atlanta International Airport, the world's busiest, took out its main and backup power supplies for about 11 hours Sunday. The blackout stranded thousands of passengers on grounded flights and in darkened concourses and led to the cancellation of more than 1,500 flights just before the busy holiday travel period. Delays at the main hub for Delta Airlines typically rippled across the nation because so many U.S. and international flights are routed through the airport. Delays at the main hub for Delta Airlines, because of the magnitude of Sunday's outage, we want to be able to rule out any possible scenario that wasn't equipment malfunction, Bell said. We really don't expect any answers like that to come forth for a few days, he said. The utility is working with the airport to explore how to prevent the situation from happening again. Interesting. Anyway, I just wanted to bring this to your attention and see what you guys think. Write in the comments below, and I will see you in the next video.